Right, hi everybody. This is the very first recording of these reaction videos. So I'm with Lennon and McCartney of Recruitment, Steve Levy and Jacob Madsen. And we've just done a quick show and tell around poetry. And I just want to know, guys, what do you think? Good and bad?
I very much like it as someone who's made coaching and mentoring and training part of my decades of experience in recruiting. Having everything in a space like this, having the capabilities to create repositories within your organization that can withstand the test of change. That is a sorely needed addition to our profession.
Yeah, I think it is really meeting a massive gap that we have lived with for many years, and no one has actually managed to crack it. And I think you have, with this tool, Adam, I think you guys have really made some leaps in regard to this, and I can distinctly see it finding its space and adoption, definitely.
Does it look easy to use?
Again, sorry?
Does it look easy to use?
There are some things that we have discussed, which has to be more pleasing to the eye. It has to be more simple, and it has to be more intuitive, because the best tools out there are hugely intuitive in terms of, that you instantly get it. You don't have to spend even 5 seconds figuring out, well, what does that mean? What is that, right? And it has to almost draw you in. The tiles have to draw you into exactly what it is, right? It does what it says on the tin, but you got to show it on the tin, basically.
Yeah, it's like getting, buying something at IKEA and being able to put something together without reading the instructions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good point.
Which is rare in IKEA, but there you go.
I know, it was the best I could come in a short minute.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. Actually, we are deeply committed to that, and we want as little options as possible without losing functionality. We want as few buttons on the screen as possible, so that people just can't go wrong. And we are every day committed to trying to make it easier and easier. It's certainly not. I wouldn't say it's particularly complex, but you are right to say it can have further simplification.
The analogy here is car makers, and how car makers are now putting what we grew up with toggle switches and whatnot behind an interface. It makes it much more difficult to get to. And so I think the benefit here, in much in the same way when we do an ATS implementation, is there is a standard dashboard, a standard layout. The ability for a TA leader to customize the layout, moving tiles around or hiding or showing things as it pertains to their particular environment.
Yep.
Again, a very important UX modification that will lend itself towards utility.
So what you're saying, Steve, is that it can actually move the agenda of a organization if they want to, given the placement on the tiles. So you can actually say if diversity and inclusion needs to be very high on that particular organization's agenda, then you can actually move that tile up to have a much more prominent place, and therefore being used more, supposedly. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Very much. By the way, it's no different than, say, the home screen on the iPhone. Yeah. And you can move things into folders that might make more sense for you. Give them different. You don't want to change the names of them, but move them around so based on how the team functions, you can just make it more more useful and customizable.
Yeah, it's a great point, and we will absolutely be doing this. So as of today, you can switch on or off different tiles. So if, for example, there's a certain thing that's just not relevant to your team, you can remove that from your workspace, but the ability to reorder from the standard is marketing tiles at the top, then operations tiles, then learning tiles, then tools. But the ability to reorder at the individual level is something, because for a talent sourcer versus a recruitment marketer, they may prefer different things up near the top.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really, really good suggestion.
The only thing I'd say, Adam, is that this is very much dependent on the adoption by the, say, TA leads or CHROs as to the material that goes into the tiles, right?
Yes.
I mean, this is not just a off the shelf thing. It has to be customized, and it has to be filled in, properly by the stakeholders.
Yeah, this is really important. One of the things that we have done is we have created templates for every section, but we've also created the ability to just switch all of those off so that you clear the room and then you start with the empty room and you design the room yourself. So you can do it with one button from the workspace admin area.
You know what this reminds me of? A data scraping company that allowed people to create private and public recipes.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about. So the ability for the poetry community,
yes,
to create things for each other, making something public or private. I suspect, knowing you, that it's in there, but that would be a nice way, quite frankly, to collect points. If you want to make it, you want to gamify it, is if you want to share, which I see on your face that you're already doing that, gamifying it and building the community and getting additional maybe monthly usage out of it because your activity is adopted, would be something that would be very keen.
Yeah, two things that are coming. The first is for smaller organizations that might only have a couple of people in HR or maybe one TA person, for example. They'll have the ability to join by February. They'll have the ability to join a globalized workspace where everything that you put in is visible to everybody else, but then you get to see everybody else's. And you're almost being able to operate like a large TA team, but it's like a collaborative. And then the second thing that we're developing, which will probably be March, is like almost an enterprise social network type feature where at each solution, you have the ability to ask questions or add information, and that information is accessible to everybody without them being able to see the content of your tiles. So
logical.
I think that's
I would expect someone who's built systems like you have would have thought of that already.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me for this bite-sized reaction video. I'm glad you overall like it, but there's several things that you've suggested which can continue to make it better. And I really appreciate you always. Cheers, Steve. Cheers, Jacob.
Cheers, guys.
Ciao.